Jade Morris here. I'm joined today by Ricardo the Bully Lamas. How you doing, Ricardo?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How was your training session today? Hey,
It
you've
was
just done a
good.
good two
Not
hours.
too hard. Just did some cardio and then did strength and conditioning session. So
Oh,
felt good.
perfect. So you're just going to relax the rest of the day now?
A little bit, yeah. Gonna relax. Might get another workout in later. We'll see.
Right, well, just to get down to it, so you've obviously just come off your fight with Mendes. Now, that was at UFC Fight Night 63. Obviously, it ended unfortunately with that right hand. What did you take from that fight?
Um, you know, no, I don't have any excuses. Coming out of that fight, he caught me with a good shot. I couldn't regain my balance after that, and the ref did a good job of stopping the fight. But with that being said, of course, there are always things that if you can go back, you'd love to do different. And I feel like I was kind of rushing the exchanges a little bit, and I should have felt him out a little more for that first round. And that was probably the biggest thing I took away from it was just not to rush things.
Well, your footwork looked great. You seemed very light on your feet. You were coming in and out a lot. You were keeping your range. You were also circling him quite well, just keeping out the way. Is that something that you guys focused on in fight camp? Was that one of the things?
Yeah, we knew that Chad was a heavy hitter. He's very heavy-handed, so coming in and out of the pocket was something we worked on, and keeping my range since I had reach on him, and just moving. It's just unfortunately I kind of had it in my head that I wanted to give a great fight, so I was like, every time he comes in, I'm just gonna start throwing. So when you do that, one of two things is gonna happen. You're either gonna hit him first, or he's gonna hit you first, and he got to me first.
And I mean, as people know, you actually come from a wrestling background. Do you feel like you're evolving as a fighter because these are very high level fighters you are obviously fighting? You fought Jose Aldo, you fought Chad Mendes, both who are one and two in the division. Do you feel like every time you have these high level fights, you're constantly learning and evolving as a fighter?
Yeah, even when the fights aren't high level, but every camp that I go through, I feel that I improve and I get better as a fighter. And I still have a lot more room for improvement, so I'm going to keep doing that and keep improving.
And if you had any challenges on the way, obviously it's no easy thing for any fighter, and you are in the top five. You're working your way back up to Jose Aldo, who said he'd be very happy to have a rematch with you. Um, what can we expect to see from you in the future?
Right now it's back to the drawing board. It's time to build up that momentum again and start working towards that ultimate goal again. And I'm taking a little bit of time off. I have a baby coming in June, so I'm kind of getting prepared for that.
Get
And
you
I'm
sleeping
hoping,
now.
yeah, I'm trying. I know. Yeah, this is gonna be the biggest fight of them all. Everybody's been telling me, but I'm hoping to fight in September, maybe a couple months after the baby's born. I just have to get ready for this and get my house in order, and then hopefully I'll hear from the UFC real soon.
Well, as you know, obviously, Uriah Faber, he's taken on Frankie Edgar. You've got Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor. So these are all going on now. Who do you think would make sense for you to fight next when you do come back? Do you think there's anyone?
Um, there's not really particular name that comes to mind. I just anybody in the top 10, really, just somebody who's going to get me back in line for that title shot. Um, I'm not here to take easy fights. My past fights have spoken for themselves. So whoever the UFC has to throw at me, I'd be willing to accept, and just keep moving forward from here.
Now, you see, Mendes has said quite a few times that he thinks that Conor McGregor is really going to struggle when he comes up against a wrestler. Now, if he does lose this fight to Jose Aldo, I'm assuming that Mendes would probably take on whoever wins Edgar versus Faber. And a lot of fans say that it makes sense for you to take on McGregor next. Do you think you match up very well with him? Do you think your style is something that would give him a lot of problems?
I do. I think I match up really well with anyone. As far as McGregor, the one thing we haven't seen him against is a wrestler.
Yeah.
And, I've heard rumors here and there that his camp has asked for him not to be matched up with wrestlers. I don't know if they're true or not. but it would make sense. He's calling out everybody in the division except wrestlers. But if the UFC approached me with that fight, I'd love it. It's just something I'm gonna have to sit back and wait to see what happens.
Well, speaking of the Aldo McGregor fight, it's around the corner. Can we expect to see any more Conor McGillity? What was it? I can't even remember the name now.
I don't know. We'll have to see. That video came about because he was doing a lot of talking. So if he continues, I might have to make another one. But right now, I'm all right. I'm just training and having fun with it.
Well, Jose Aldo said you're the champion as an actor already. So I think he loved your videos. He had.
Obrigado.
He had an interview with Megna Levy and he couldn't stop laughing over that video. So I think everyone's waiting to see if you do another one.
I think most people had a good laugh from it except for Conor.
Yeah, no, I don't think he was too impressed. Hopefully he doesn't see me laughing, I think. Now, with obviously what's come to light with Jon Jones over the past 24 hours, this is actually... Jose Aldo is now the pound-for-pound champion, which is absolutely fantastic for the featherweight division. Do you think this means that the title fights will become a lot more exciting and interesting because he is now the pound-for-pound champion?
I think his fights are always exciting. He's been champ for so long, he's been so dominant that it's just kind of watching every fight to see when, because eventually every champion falls. So Right now it's like you're on the edge of your seat watching every fight to see if this next fight is going to be the one where somebody's going to figure out the key to open up that lock to beat Jose Aldo. So I enjoy all of his fights. I thought before, Jon Jones, that he was definitely one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. So I enjoy all his fights.
And speaking of Aldo, I'm sure you probably know already, but at the World Conference Tour, McGregor took Jose Aldo's belt. Now, a lot of people say that that's bad luck and they think now he's not going to win because of that. Do you have any fighter superstitions, or do you not think it matters?
No, I don't think, I don't really buy into the superstitions too much. I personally didn't want to touch the belt because I wanted it. I wanted the first time me touching the belt was to be as champion, not, as challenger or anything like that. That was the only reason why I didn't want to touch the belt. I didn't think that it was going to give me bad luck or bad karma or anything like that. I don't think McGregor believes in that either, so I don't think it's going to bother him too much.
Yeah, no, I don't. And who do you think's, obviously you're probably sick of answering this question, but who do you think will win this fight? Because obviously it's such a huge fight for your division. It's, everyone will be watching. People will want to know what happens next. Regardless of who wins, people will be keen to see what goes on with your division next. So what do you think is going to happen?
I think if McGregor wants to win this fight, he's going to have to do it early. I think the longer the fight goes, it's going to be more in Aldo's favor. We haven't seen McGregor push. We haven't seen him, in the last rounds of a fight, especially a championship fight that's going to be 5 rounds. So we're going to see where his will and heart really is in this fight.
And just to take you a little bit off MMA now, because I'm sure you're sick of answering MMA questions. We've obviously got the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight this weekend. Are you going to be watching it?
Of course, just like everybody else in the world.
And who do you think's going to win?
My heart wants Pacquiao to win. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm going to be rooting for him.
Definitely. Well, what are your thoughts on Mayweather? God, I can't speak today. On Mayweather. There's been obviously a lot going on between the boxing world and the MMA world. He has said quite a lot about fighters. He says, MMA fans, it's just for beer drinkers, and, cages are for animals, and he thinks boxers are elite. What do you think about these comments? Because, I think, it's totally separate, but he seems to really have, a hatred towards MMA, to be honest. What's your opinion on it?
I think that is an athlete trying to hang on to his dying sport. He sees MMA coming up and becoming the next biggest thing. So, of course, he's going to say things like that to try and deter people from watching MMA, but it's not going to happen. As soon as you watch MMA, you become hooked, and we have things for everybody in this sport. So I think those are just his last hopes of hanging on to a dying sport.
Well, I don't think he was happy when Pacquiao said, Ronda Rousey could beat you in an MMA fight. I bet that went down really well.
Oh, well, no, I love the sport of boxing, and I'm a huge fan of it, and it's a huge part of MMA, and I think that, they can go hand in hand, and I think MMA could become just as big as boxing is right now.
And especially when we do have fights, the likes of it, and it's exciting for you because it's in your division as well. We do have these huge fights that are selling out so quickly, so it'll be very exciting to see what happens with your division over the next few months. But I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us, and you'll have to keep us updated on your next fight.
No problem.
And get lots of sleep.
I will.
Thank
you for having me on the show, and get a hold of me anytime.
No problem. Thank you so much.